Hello, my name is Scott Bradley, and this is SNN Sports Football Voicey podcast. And as always, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify. And today, I'm over the moon to be joined by the former SPFL scout, Joe Quinn. Joe, how are we?
Not bad. Thanks for having me.
You have a good weekend?
Yep. Good weekend. It was busy. Watched the football and missed some football due to personal circumstances, doing a driving lesson, but maybe that was a good thing, missing a certain football match due to a driving lesson. But hey, good weekend.
No, I can imagine, mate. And we're just going to dive right into it. And we're going to talk about said football match. And Celtic lost 2-0 to Dun United at the weekend. It was a result I didn't see coming, Joe, if I'm being honest. I thought Celtic were starting to pick up a bit of momentum. But yeah, Celtic were terrible, to say the least, mate. What do you make of their title chances now?
For me, I think the title is still mathematically possible, but it's been made a lot harder after yesterday's result. I think it's been a funny season since kick-off, and I think whether that's down to the lack of transfers in the summer and then that lack of confidence in the manager going forward and his unhappiness at getting the transfers that he wanted, and then that's carried over, then he's left, then Martin's came in and settled, he settled it. And then obviously the appointment of Wilfred Nancy, which is, I think that's where the Celtic season was lost, was the appointment of Wilfred Nancy. For me, I was actually quite excited, because I do watch the MLS, and Columbus Crew are one of those teams that you did watch and you were like, could they give Messi a wee upset? And they did look good. They'd won the MLS Cup with Columbus Crew, and then obviously January came and the board have went by Wilfred and got Martin in, and yesterday's result was just a team that can be hit and miss, and some players are not saying not playing for the jersey, but for me I think some of the players are just lacking the momentum. There's a lot of injuries that's obviously affected the guys at the back, and then obviously you've got our forward striker leaving in January and last year not getting replaced, and then another striker leaving in summer not getting replaced. So it's a squad that's, for me, are not playing to their potential. Now when you look at the side, yeah, we've lost Adamida and Kyogo, but the majority of the side's still the same from last year. And the lone players have been very hit and miss. And obviously, yesterday that showed. I watched the highlights because I didn't watch it live. And you look at the likes of the free transfer signing of Oxlade-Chamberlain, it just, obviously he's lacking match practice, but it's just so underwhelming to watch them. Like, it's just sideways passing and backward passing, and for me, it's just not clicked this season. And I think yesterday showed that, and even as the season's been on, you can see it's just hit and miss. Then obviously last week's result, you look at last week's result against Hibs, you're like, oh, fantastic result, this is good.
Motherwell, I think it was.
Motherwell. You look at Motherwell flying high, challenging for the league themselves, and you get good result and you're like, this could be it now, like this could be the final push that we need, and then the game comes and none of them show up. And yeah, there's talks of some players past it, some players not playing for the club anymore, filling a jersey, and obviously that's probably a chat for another day with some players. And yeah, it's disheartening as a Celtic fan, because other than the COVID season, we've been a successful club for the last
15 odd years.
So seeing this downfall, you seen it in COVID and you're like, let's not have this again. And then obviously this season it's been worse than the COVID season. For some reason we're up there still point wise mathematically possible, and that's down to Martin.
Yeah.
He's a godsend for Celtic. Honestly, I don't think if it was for Martin, it would be we would still be in a chance. I think we would have been probably fighting the likes of Motherwell and Hibs for 4th place. So hats off to Martin, and for me it's having that childhood nostalgia, having Martin back. My earliest football memories is Martin O'Neill, Henrik Larsson, Neil Lennon. So seeing that Twilight Martin O'Neill again, it's good, but I just wish we could give him a trophy, which
I think he can happen in Scottish Cup, if I'm being honest, Joe, but I feel as though the damage was done after Wilfred Nonsi, and Martin O'Neill, he's turned to the club and he's tried to pick up the pieces best he can, and it's not his fault. It's not his fault at all, but I think Celtic are out the race now, Joe. Because put it this way, see if Celtic just stopped with Martin O'Neill after Rodgers left, I think Celtic would be top league right now, if I'm being totally honest.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And that's the thing, Martin knows what the club is and what Celtic stands for. And I'd say there's 3 people in football right now that understand Celtic and how nothing less than a win's not good enough. And those are Martin O'Neill, Neil Lennon and Scott Brown. Those 3 guys know what it's like for Celtic and know that every week is a win. Nothing less than a win. And yeah, Martin O'Neill should have been the manager and should have only had 2 spells at Celtic and not 3. And yeah, can't blame Martin. He's had an injury depleted squad. These 2 spells. He's done some loan signings. Whether or not they're his signings or not, it's a different story, and different story with the head of recruitment and things. But yeah, we would have been in a better position if Martin stayed. And just sad. I was a bit upset when he did leave.
So what did you make of the scenes after the game yesterday with Celtic fans obviously having to go at the board? I can't recall in my lifetime seeing such a divide between a fan base and a board. Honestly, it's insane.
Oh, well, I'm in my early 30s, and for me, I've never seen a divide like this. I know obviously during the COVID year there was a wee tiny bit, but it wasn't a lot. But this season it's been unbelievable. It's genuinely been unbelievable. It's making front page news in football. In a good way, should always be back pages. But in fact, we're getting front page news for like fan and board divide. It shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, and there's a saying, football is nothing without the fans. Do I blame the fans for their reaction and their challenging of the board? No, they're well within their rights. You look at these fans, shirts, the match day, they're buying their pies, their hot dogs, then the collections, they're buying their home tickets, their away tickets, cup tickets, and they've got every right. You can't say, they've took it too far. They've not took it too far, because it's their club. It's my club. I would be the exact same. I'm not going to go away because it's a board.
Yeah.
They're reacting because they're not liking what they're seeing on the pitch and at board level, because it all goes back to the board. You can't just blame the players, and yet you can't just blame the board as well. But there's been appointments by the board and actions by the board that have to be considered as hostile towards fans, and yeah, the fans have got every right, and it's just unprecedented on this complete nonsense, because it's not fair. It's not fair on the fans. It's not fair on a certain fan group being banned, because it's them that create the atmosphere. It's them that support the club. And how many times have we seen at the end of the season them throwing a megaphone at Kieran Tierney and Cal McGregor and things? How many players got up to those fans at the end of the season and show them the trophy? They're fans. We are fans, and we need to be heard. And appointments at the club have to be right for a club when the likes of Champions League, as missing out the Champions League is huge. Financially, that's where Celtic get their money from. Champions League and player sales. And if we're not playing in the Champions League and we're playing in a lesser competition like the Europa League and Conference League, no disrespect to the teams that compete in that, but who's going to pay 20 million, say, or 15 million for a player that scored 2 goals in the Conference League or the Europa League and struggling to find form.
That's a good point, yeah.
You need to have consistency at all levels, boardroom, in the manager's office and on the pitch. And for this season at Celtic, it's not happened in the stands and on the pitch, and it needs to change next season for me.
In terms of who will be the next Celtic manager, who do you want it to be?
For me personally, I would love to see Ange Postecoglou back, but he's obviously said he doesn't do comebacks. For me then, I would look at the Bodo Glimt manager.
I don't think that'll happen. It's been going on for years. I don't think it's going to happen now.
That's a dream, but talks of Roberto Martinez. You're not saying no to Roberto Martinez, who's done Portugal, Belgium, worked with Sean Maloney.
William manager? Would you like him?
Too soon. I think too soon. I think if he was in the job for like 2 years and it was consistent, Motherwell, I would say, do you know what? Give him a chance. But I think he's a good manager. I really do think he's a good manager. But it would be Ange or the Bodo manager or Roberto Martinez for me. But ideally, if we want a good pedigree of manager, I would say Roberto Martinez. But is Roberto Martinez going to come to Celtic and play in the Europa League, or as it stands, the Conference League in the current league position? So
he has a good chance of winning the World Cup with Portugal as well, by the way.
And obviously, if we get a World Cup winning manager like 3 weeks after he wins it,
what do you think he would actually, if he wins the World Cup, he would go from like managing Ronaldo, winning a World Cup, to playing Ross County away?
I don't think that would happen. I think he'd probably get snapped up. Maybe then if he wins something like that, then it would be talks of
literally Premier League clubs.
Spurs and other clubs that would be managerless at the end of the season in the Premier League, or even top 4 maybe, depending if a certain manager doesn't win the Premier League, who's currently at top of the league. So it'll be interesting. But for this summer at Celtic, it's a huge rebuild off the pitch and on the pitch, and it has to start with the right managerial appointment this time, and ideally a manager that's going to have a full pre-season or close to a full pre-season.
No, definitely. And we'll just move on, Joe. We'll speak about Rangers. A great result for Danny Roseman at the weekend. Yet another cup final win, as he would say. And they beat Aberdeen 4-1. It was a really good performance, great result. But the star of the show was Mikey Moore. I think he's been brilliant for Rangers over the last few months. I was at the press conference at the weekend, and he got asked about his future, and he said he would love to stay at the club. Danny Rose said he would love for Mikey Moore to stay. I think there's any chance Rangers could get Mikey Moore on a permanent?
Anything's possible in football, and for me, Mikey Moore would do no harm staying at Rangers, because perfect example, Raskin's in the
Belgian team
week in, not week in, week out, but every international,
he's a main starter there.
He's a main starter. And Mikey Moore, I'm not saying if he plays for Rangers he's going to be in the England squad, but it'd be a good stepping stone to play week in, week out at Rangers, have these performances, and then who's to say another Tottenham might do a buyback, or another team might go, well, let's take a chance on him, and there's every possibility that he could. Again, what's stopping Rangers from splashing the cash this summer on Mikey Moore, and Mikey Moore having 2 good seasons, and then he's going back to the Premier League and then in the England Nationals, the English national squad. So for me, I think Mikey Moore's season started when Russell Martin left. I think after Russell Martin left, you've seen Mikey Moore getting more game time and more confident in his performances. I think after Russell left, I think he got more settled, and he's been a revelation in a season for Rangers as well that's been hit and miss. Wouldn't say similar to Celtic's, but he's been a revelation, and I just wish he was playing in green and white, because we've needed that wee bit of creativity in the wing at Celtic. So, but yeah, Mikey Moore has been one of those ones, and his performance again, he's for a young man doing it consistently. It's really good, really good to see a young player coming from a Premier League youth academy. I'm not going to say top 6 Premier League team.
Aye, they could go down.
They could go down, and then that's a question for Mikey Moore as well. Is he going to play in the Championship and make a name for himself and get Tottenham promoted again, or play in the Scottish Premiership and compete for trophies? But again, that's a big if with Tottenham. I personally think they'll do it, but again, it's question on the people that Rangers, because when they get these loan players in, for some reason, they seem to have a good development. You had Sima a few years ago.
Tillman.
Yeah, Tillman, and then you had Cherny last season as well. So Rangers loan signings seem to be fantastic. They seem to do their loan business really, really well, which is quite annoying when you look at Celtic's loan signings. But yeah, Mikey Moore's been fantastic, so he has.
And I just want to touch on Aberdeen, Joe. They're 3 points off the relegation playoffs. Do you think there's any chance they can go down? Because Stephen Robinson said to us at the press at the weekend that they're in a real scrap right now, and I feel as though they're in an absolute mess at this moment in time.
Yeah, I'd compare them to Spurs. Like, they've got the talent, and they're in their squad isn't where it should be, because it's crazy the likes of Aberdeen being down there. For me personally, I thought Jimmy Tillene and his coaching staff were good. I think it's just, again, football's a results business, and if the results don't go your way, you're going to be out of job, no matter. I mean, 2 or 3 games, there's like, he's only got a couple more games to kind of turn this round. So I think Aberdeen have got the quality to stave off the relegation and the relegation playoff that'll be coming. And yeah, I mean, they won the Scottish Cup last season.
Right. So
again, like, they won the Scottish Cup and they could be relegated. Tottenham Hotspur won the Europa League and they could be relegated. So it's quite surreal these last few years about football. Like, you don't see these things coming. And for me personally, I've always ever seen Aberdeen compete for top 6, and one of those ones that's a banana skin for little both old firms. So yeah, it's so surreal. I think they'll do it. Stephen Robinson is a great manager. He's one of those modern day SPFL icons when he's been at Motherwell and St Mirren, and yeah, I'd probably say he's at the same sort of calibre as a club as St Mirren, and clubs that have got ambitions to play in these Conference League, Europa League. So he's a quality manager, and he's only just in the door a matter of weeks. So you give him some time against the Rangers, up against a Rangers side that are needing the results themselves. So you're not going to say, well, it's too late for him to save it. But Aberdeen have got a class in the squad. They're a good side. They've got a good mix of players, so they have, and good experience as well. You've got Kevin Nisbet up front as well. So then when he's in the box, he knows where the goal is. So yeah, I think they'll be safe. I think they'll be safe, Aberdeen. Yeah,
so do I as well. So I think they've got a good manager, Stephen Robinson, and next season I think Aberdeen will do well under Robinson, because I know they were looking for a foreign coach previously. That didn't work out. So I think they've got a good manager in Robinson, safe pair of hands, knows the Scottish game inside out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
100%.
But I just want to touch on Hearts, Joe. Back to winning ways, beat Dundee 1-0 at the weekend. And we were saying off air, right, they're not playing great. Obviously they've got some injuries, got some key players to come back. It's Hearts' league to lose. And it's actually surreal that we're seeing this mid-March, because at the start of the season, no one could have predicted that Hearts would be in this position. I think we all did say, yeah, they're going to fade away, they're going to fall off. That's not been the case. Like, they're right up there, and they can make history and actually go on and win this league.
It honestly makes me speechless, honestly. For me, seeing Hearts compete, I've only ever seen them really compete in the Scottish football and like cup competitions. And yeah, they'll maybe have a crack at like top 3 and maybe aim to like separate the old firm, but it's just been an unbelievable season. A couple of years ago, a family member of mine passed away, and he was a huge Jambo, and if he was here today, he'd be winding me up every day, I'd say. But they aren't playing good. They're getting performances of champions, like those scrappy 1-0s and those 2-1s, and their dip in form when they lose matches seem to be when Celtic and Rangers lose points. So I don't know if it's a mentality mindset where Hearts are playing last or first, but they know that they can do their job, and that's maybe a question for like mentality and like Scottish football, where if you're competing for a title, is it good to play first or play at the same time? And yeah, just seeing Hearts compete in Saturday season, for me it was Celtic. It was Celtic and Rangers and Hearts. You knew, but I'm not saying that I knew it was coming, but with Tony Bloom investing, I kind of knew something was going to boil over. Personally, I was expecting it to go the other way, and like one of those, oh, why did we get involved in this things? But the fact the Tony Bloom analytics company has came in and changed, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of Hearts' tremendous season is the recruitment and the appointment of the Derek McInnes appointment as well last season. So, and again, Derek's very similar to Stephen Robinson. He knows the league, and obviously he's got this new outlook on football with the Tony Bloom analytic company. And you look at Tony Bloom, what he's done for Brighton as well, like promotions and into the Premier League and mainstays in the Premier League at the moment. So fair play to Hearts. I'm not going to sit here and as a Celtic man say, oh, I don't want them to win it. Football wise, it's up there with Leicester. It's going to be up there with Leicester. It will create news and headlines and stuff like that. It's only great for Scottish football and bringing in new investors, new funding and better TV deals, because then it's going to be, can Rangers and Celtic stop Hearts? Is this a one season wonder? But yeah, to see Hearts at the end of the season lifting that trophy, it'd be bittersweet for me. I'd be obviously, part of me would be upset as a Celtic fan, but then part of me, for my family friend that passed away, I'd be like, do you know what, they've done it, and I'll celebrate it for him because he would have loved to have been here to see it. So yeah, I'm 50-50 at the moment. Well, more 75%. I'd be upset, but that 25% is I would be happy for him. So yeah, Hearts has just been away. Like the scrappy games is what you see winning leagues. It's these scrappy games, and I touched on it. Like it's these games that win leagues. And you look back and go, oh, when was it? Like a couple of years ago, it was Ralston's goal up at Ross County. That was when Celtic won the league and things. So yeah, Hearts just seem to be doing that. Hearts seem to be doing that every week. Correct. But you know what? Fair play to them. Fair play to the fan base and their coaching staff and the community that they've got up at Edinburgh and Tynecastle. So do you know what? As Celtic fan, yes, gutted potentially. But as a Scottish football fan,
it's great for the game.
It's fantastic. It's honestly so fantastic.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And then, Joe, we'll just move on. And you have a very interesting Scottish Football League reconstruction proposal that I want to get into.
Yep.
But before we speak about that, what do you make of the current setup in the Scottish game at this moment in time?
For me, the current setup for me is outdated, I feel. Mind you, I've only ever grew up with it being a 12-team Premier League. Way back when it was the Bank of Scotland Premier League, and it was Paul Lambert and Neil Lennon lifting it. So I've only ever known it as a 12, so and then a 10, and so on. So for me, the current format hasn't changed with the times and hasn't changed with fan engagement, and that's clear to see. Obviously, likes of other leagues have got more fan engagement. They've got these fan parks and these things. And I think this current format is fell behind when the decision makers could have pounced on an opportunity to change it. And for me, my proposal was in COVID, so it was during COVID time when the football stopped, and you look at it and that it was like you look at it and it's like, this is boring. It's couple like repetitive, and some parts of the season like you're just kicking a ball about and you lose interest. And for me, like, you lose interest, you come to a split, you go, oh great. The only thing that keeps me interested sometimes is like, oh yeah, we've got another referral after the split, and then it's that repetitiveness that spoils our game. Like, you just can't keep doing it because it's losing clubs money, and I think it is losing clubs money. So yeah, the current format for me, I feel is outdated and just not with current fans' expectation of our game.
And I think you were saying that you want a 14-team league.
Yep.
Yeah, a 14-team league, and I think a lot of people would agree with you with that, because when you look at the current setup, as you were saying, it's very repetitive. Like 4 Old Firm games a season, it's too much. And sometimes, look at this season, we're going to have 6 Old Firm games.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rangers played Celtic in the League Cup and the Scottish. It's way too much, Joe. But yeah, that's very interesting. So talk me through this proposal here.
Yeah, so the best way to try and explain the 14 team league, it would be very similar to the Greek Super League. The 14 team Premier League we would have would be the top 7 split, and then the bottom split. Top 7 would be the Championship, the champion, whatever, champion split.
Yeah.
And then the bottom 7 would be the relegation split. And each team would play each other twice, home and away, in the normal season. And then the split, it would be playing your split team twice, home and away. So again, that goes back to obviously playing a team 4 times potentially, and then the other teams twice. But with that, you're going to have more chance of picking up more points and more TV revenue, because if there's more repetitiveness at the top, you're going to have more TV revenue. And at the bottom as well, you're still going to have potentially a relegation fight. So then again, there'll be more games. And does that defeat the purpose of what I'm saying about being boring and repetitive? No, because it'll be a different structure and it'll be something to play for. But at the moment, the split's nothing to play for. And then the only team really competing in the split at the top is Celtic and Rangers, if their points is there, or the odd battle for third. So the structure would be more, I think, more entertaining. It would be maybe the same amount of games for the top 7 against certain clubs, but relegation-wise, 2 are automatically getting relegated. Because at the moment, just dipping into the Championship, your Championship sides, if you finish 4th, you're playing 2 games, and then another 2 games, and then you're playing a Premier League side. So you're playing like 6 games at the end of the season. And if you replay that in a normal season, that's going to take you up to the September international break. And then for me, player welfare for me is a big thing. So automatic relegation is better because it's less games at the end of the season, and that gives clubs and players the chance to hook up with their international teams and go there, have the pre-season, because I know there's a pre-season international sometimes in May, June, or Nations League sometimes, and then the players can come back and have a holiday pre-season and do that. But then obviously with the 14 team and the 2 automatic, it'd be the Championship would be 14 as well, and 2 would be promoted, obviously, 1 automatically, and then 1 would be promoted via the playoffs, similar to the English Championship. Home and away, and then a neutral tie. Whether that would be the team that's got a better league form would have the host of the neutral, or a neutral game at Hampden or Murrayfield. And that gives those clubs in the Championship more to play for as well, because what would you rather, 3 games at the end of the season or 6? And some managers, some of your players might be already knackered and injured, so having those lesser games at the end of the season could be good. And having a 14-14 is what my proposal is, would be, I think, very good for the game. And the promotions would be good, because I think obviously anyone that's not watched the promotions side of like the Championship and League One of the Scottish game, it is very confusing. It's like fifth v third, like it's like third v fourth, one of that plays fifth, and then one of that game plays second, and then one of that game plays 11th place in the Premier League. So it's like so complicated when it doesn't need to be. So just make it simple.
No, definitely. And there's one thing that I found very interesting as well, was the youth development reform, where it was like a national under 18 and under 21 league structure to strengthen pathways and retain talent in Scotland. I think that's brilliant, because over the years, Joe, we've seen so many great young talent go down south and it's not really worked out. One guy comes to mind is Scott Allen, who he left Scotland way too early because he played about 10 games or something for Dundee United. He went down south to West Brom. I don't even think he made a first team appearance at West Brom. He was loaned out to various clubs and then ended up coming back to Scotland a few years later. And yeah, that's one thing as well, though. Scotland have struggled over the years to retain top talent, and they go down south way too young.
Oh, 100%. And again, I don't know if that's the player mentality when they think if they go down south, it's a stepping stone. So for me, having that restructure of youth football gives them a stepping stone to be noticed at their clubs or smaller clubs as well. Not necessarily small clubs, but your league. Obviously, in my proposal, it would be League One and Championship clubs. There's nothing stopping those players. I think the current setup that we have in football, the youth football, for anyone that's not familiar, it's like the CAS setup, and that gives players the opportunity to experience youth football for their club, and then have the chance to go part-time, whether it be the West of Scotland, the Highland League, or those sort of leagues. So it's trying to keep them with their teams and getting them developed, because we are losing players very early in their careers, whether it be going down south or them losing interest and going part-time to do another job. Like the amount of players now that at level are looking at going like potentially part-time football and having another job. But ideally for me, I'm not saying I want young players to have their mindset, I'm going to make it pro. We know the numbers of making it pro are very low, whether it's here, England, Spain and all that. For me, it's keeping them interested in the game, keeping them engaged with the game and involved at the highest level, and having an under 18s league and an under 21s league is a step up. Having a pathway, because at the moment these teams play at CAS level or Celtic B, Rangers B, Hearts B, and for me, why mix it up? Why mix that up? Keep it simple, keep it straight, and make these players have the pathway that's clear for them, so they know, do you know what, if I stick this in another 2 years, do you know what, do I go semi-pro, do I go part-time, do I look at a lower league and doing that? So I want, again, for me, it's player welfare. My proposal was based on 2 things: fans and player welfare. And I do feel the interest for youth football, even when you go to the lower age groups, the interest in the game is lost because of the lack, and I think it's the lack of pathways for our young talents, and there's some young talents out there that are unbelievable, and then they have a wee taste of it and they'll be like, this isn't for me, and they'll drop down the leagues. No disrespect to like West of Scotland League and the East of Scotland leagues and the Highland League, no disrespect to those leagues, and they're obviously getting cracking players, but then those players are getting comfortable in those leagues and then they're journeymen through those sort of leagues, and we need those players playing, because a perfect example is the Scotland national side, a goalkeeper. In a couple of years' time, we're going to have a shortage of goalkeepers. And I think Steve Clark touched on it a couple of international windows ago. Like, we've got Gordon, Bain, Kelly. They're all in their 30s.
Okay.
We need to start developing those talents and giving them the opportunities. Yeah, the opportunities to go south, but playing up here first and getting those big moves. I know obviously he's not Scottish, but Mickey Johnston at Celtic.
Yeah.
He went down to Celtic. He went down to West Brom from Celtic and got a permanent deal out of it. And obviously I know he's injured just now. He's in the Northern Ireland squad. So it does work. It does work. Callum McGregor, James Forrest, all these players that are there and competing. And yeah, I hope my proposal for the youth structure really does change. I know you guys posted it, and that was I got a good few comments based on the current youth structure of Scottish football. And everyone was, a couple of people said even under 16s, giving them multiple clubs to play for so that they can get more game experience. And you know what? Anything at youth level to give these young players the chance, because there'll be maybe somebody that'll watch this and thinking, he's right, I might not have the correct pathway because I'm playing in the Cas League. No disrespect to the Cas League. I think it's good that we've got that league, and some of the youth clubs do play for those sort of Cas Cups and things, so fair play to them.
No, definitely. And just to finish off, Joe, ask everyone that comes on the podcast this question, right? Who's better, Ronaldo or Messi?
I touched on Wilfred Nunn saying Columbus Crew at the start, so I think that kind of answers it. For me, Lionel Messi, I've grew up with both Lionel Messi, and you think how privileged you are, anyone that's born after, say, 1990, that have grew up with likes of Messi, Ronaldo, and Lampard, Gerrard, Iniesta and things. It's like it's a proper golden generation. And when you talk like to your elders and they say that like these generations, and we've grew up with likes of Messi and Ronaldo, for me it's just Messi. Like he's just unbelievable what he can do. His left foot scored yesterday from a free kick, and people are saying, he's going to the MLS to retire. He's like,
he's done it all.
He's done it all. And
we're very lucky we'll never see Ronaldo and Messi again. Like, we're lucky that we grew up with the pair of them.
Honestly, it's fantastic. And I've got a signed photo of Lionel Messi in Barcelona, and I'll cherish that. And I hope one day I get to meet him, learn a bit of Spanish and get to talk to him.
Definitely.
I know when you look at like Ronaldo and Messi when they play now, they've got like pitch invaders every match.
It's insane, mate. It's insane.
Honestly, I know obviously here it's against the law, but if Messi came to Scotland to play, I'd be jumping on a pitch.
No, I can imagine.
I'd be jumping on a pitch. Obviously, I don't encourage anyone to jump on a pitch.
Of course.
It is a criminal offence in Scotland. But it has to be Messi. It's just he's done it all, and he's not just done it all at club level. He's done it at international level.
That's true. Yeah.
He's done it at Barcelona. He went to PSG.
Didn't work out.
Didn't score goals, but he still got the assists.
Yeah.
Goes to into Miami with Bex.
Yeah.
Another one who we've grew up and watched.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been crazy watching Messi grow up basically. You know what I mean? And obviously, I know Messi's only a few years older than me, but I still feel I've grew up and watched him grow up.
No, but Joe, just to finish off, mate, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. That means a lot. But until next time, take care. I'll see you soon. Cheers.